本日はお忙しい中、サイバー&フィジカル AI ウェビナーにご参加いただきまして、誠にありがとうございます。司会のイスラエル大使館経済部、根本と申します。本ウェビナーは、イスラエル大使館経済部、イスラエルイノベーションオーソリティ、みずほ情報総研共催のもと、サイバーセキュリティ、サイバーフィジカルシステム、AI に関するイスラエルスタートアップピッチや、現地最新トレンドをご紹介いたします。質疑応答に関しまして皆様にお願いがございます。イスラエル企業へのご質問に関しましては、Zoom 上の Q&A 機能を使用します。イスラエル企業の名前を最初に明記の上、質問事項を英語にてお書きください。チャット機能には質問を書き込まないようにお願いいたします。企業のプレゼン中でも質問は書き込んでいただいて結構です。時間中に答えられないものについては、ピッチ終了後、各企業がテクストにてお答えいたします。それでは、セミナーを開始するにあたりまして、イスラエル大使館経済部、経済公使を務めます、ノア・アッシャーよりご挨拶申し上げます。ノアさん、よろしくお願いします。
皆様、こんにちは。私はノア・アッシャー、イスラエル大使館の経済公使です。Thank you very much, everyone, for joining this webinar. We're very happy to present very promising 4 Israeli companies here today. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our partners from Mizuho Bank, Mr. Takeoka-san. Thank you so much for years of support and various joint events that we've held together. I wish you all the luck that you can have. And also the Israeli Innovation Authority, thank you so much, Misela Eller, for co-organizing this event together with us. We are very happy to see all of you joining our event today. We have more than 100 people at this webinar. We would hope that you would find the Israeli technologies that are showing today exciting. We think that even during this time of the Corona crisis, when the digital transformation is becoming so important to many companies and organizations, Israeli technologies could be the right solution and the right fit for your challenges. So we hope that you can find ways to collaborate with the Israeli companies. Following this event, we'll be holding a few B2B meetings, bilateral meetings with the Israeli companies. If you're interested in talking to them further or talking to additional companies, please let us know and we will schedule your meetings for next week. Our mission in the embassy in Tokyo is to promote collaboration between Israeli and Japanese companies. We work with many Japanese corporations on helping them identify potential partners in Israel. So if needed, please let us know and we will be very happy to assist and help you look for your next adventure in Israel. So hope you will find this interesting. Have a good day. Good luck. Thank you so much. ありがとうございます。
ノアさん、ありがとうございました。それでは主催団体のプレゼンテーションに移らせていただきたいと思います。最初に、みずほ情報総研竹岡志陽様より、日本の銀行システムとみずほファイナンシャルグループ、イスラエルスタートアップの日本市場へのゲートウェイについてお話がございます。竹岡様、よろしくお願いします。
皆さん、こんにちは。みずほ情報総研の竹岡でございます。本日は、お時間をいただきまして、多くの方に参加をいただきましてありがとうございます。私のプレゼンテーションはですね、主に、イスラエルの、今日、何名かイスラエルの方も参加しているので、イスラエルの方に向けた、みずほの役割とかっていうのが中心になっているので、日本の方にはですね、少し退屈な部分も多いかなと思いますので、聞き流していただいて、次のですね、キーノートから、聞いていただければなというふうに思っております。Okay, thank you for joining our webinars. From Mizuho side, I will introducing the Japanese banking systems. and Mizuho Financial Group. So it is a kind of the gateway to the Japanese market for the Israeli startups. So let's move on the next slides. So Japanese banking system, so-called main bank system, has a strong power in the Japanese financial and industry market. This system has actually supported Japanese growth. Today, we have a lot of the industry giants, including the today's participants. The system characterized as the first one is long-term relationships. We Japanese banks not interested in a short-term or one-time deal. We are making a long-term relationships over the 10 years, 20 years, and more. The interesting thing is Japanese banks, sometimes it is the shareholder of our clients, not only a debt provider, but also a shareholder. Because of that, our Japanese banks providing management consulting, sometimes providing a turnaround strategy and its executions. Sometimes we banks dispatch board members to the clients. It is a very unique system. So Japanese banks means not only a financial institutions. This is why today we co-organize this event with our Israeli embassy and IIA. So I will explain our position of the Mizuho Financial Group. We are the third largest bank, but one of the largest financial conglomerate in Japan, called as 3 mega banks in Japan. The first largest is MUFG, second one is SMBC, and third one is Mizuho. One of our capability is client coverage. 70% client coverage of Tokyo Stock Exchange listed companies and 80% client coverage of Forbes Global 200. This means almost Japanese industry leaders are our clients. In addition, we have a lot of the industry analysts. We are first ranked analyst ranking table. We have a high reputation in all industry. And the next one, I will introduce the Mizuho Information Research Institute, which I worked for. We have 3 pillars. First one is system integrator. We manage the world's largest banking transaction systems, and we also providing management and policy consulting. So we are one of the largest think tank in Japan. And also we are doing a technology scouting services. Tech stack scouting for Mizuho and also outside of Mizuho. It means we are supporting the technology scouting services for our clients. So this is the key message of my keynote. We Mizuho want to make a bridge between Japan and Israel. So for Israelis, if you want to penetrate the Japanese market, please contact us. And the next slide is the most important thing. So please visit Japan if you have an opportunity. So actually we have a long and unique history and good natures, cultures, also food as well. I'm looking forward to you in Japan in the near future. So thank you very much. Toda raba.
竹岡様、ありがとうございました。次に 一目でわかるイスラエルのハイテク産業とイスラエルイノベーションの役割について、イスラエルイノベーションオーソリティ、ジャパンイスラエルコラボレーションマネージャー、エラ・ヘレルよりお話がございます。エラさん、the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank you for cooperation on this webinar. Thank you especially for the embassy and of course to Mizuho Group for doing this opportunity. In my presentation, I want to give a brief overview about what is going on with the ecosystem here in Israel, what is exactly the Israel Innovation Authority, and about the international collaboration and what can we do for the Israeli startups with Japan. So a bit facts about what's going on here. Israel is actually ranked the second in the OECD countries about national expenditure on civilian R&D as percentage of the GDP. I must confess is without the expenditure on security. If we include that, Israel will be ranked first. In 2019, we can see that Israel actually broke the record of itself in exits, in a total of 21.7 billion exits in 2019. And the capital raising actually increased significantly from 2019, which was approximately $6 billion US dollars. And in 2019, we actually reached almost 2.2 billion US dollars. And we had new 7 MNCs that established an R&D center here in Israel. In general, we can see that the multinational corporation that established here in R&D has a very significant role in the ecosystem of the Israeli high-tech, since they are responsible about approximately 50% of the high-tech product in Israel. And in the recent years, we can see a lot of involvement of companies coming from the East Asia region, mainly from Japan, Korea, China, and Singapore. Of course, mainly most of the R&D centers are actually coming from the US and Europe, but we want to keep this trend of East Asian companies coming to Israel and engaging more with Israeli ecosystem and startups. So we can see that also Israel is kind of a hub for large companies, and we can see that in 2008, the top 10 companies actually were mainly on energy, and we also had only 4 representatives here in Israel. And in 2010, we can see the shift of the leading companies. Actually, most of them are ICT and data. And out of these 10 companies, 9 decided to establish an office or an R&D center here in Israel. The Israeli trend about the global market is quite similar. We can see there is an increase in the capital raising and more of mega rounds in investment in Israeli companies and less in smaller deals, which means that us as the Israel Innovation Authority, it means there is less investment in the very early stage startups, which also something that we need to put our finger on. Regarding what are the trends in the Israeli ecosystem, the size of the bubble is actually the number of the companies. The x-axis actually means the growth of the raising of the capital, and the y-axis is the increase of the number of the companies that are involved in this specific area. We can see that AI is quite leading, and when I mean AI, is companies that have some kind of a segment of AI in their technology. And we can see that we have a lot of industry actually in agrotech and pharma, and of course, cyber. So what makes Israel a successful country and very innovative? We get a lot of these questions. I think the most important thing is the interactivity between all these components that we can see on the screen. I guess most countries has these components, but I guess Israel is a small country, so we have an advantage of this interconnectivity. And of course, the out-of-the-box thinking and not seeing failure as a failure, but as another stepping stone for success. So why actually the government should invest in R&D? It's a high-risk investments. It means we are in risk to take the money of the taxpayer and lose it. So we understand that it's not actually a failure. If we invest in a company, it's not a failure because there is a spillover effect. The people will go to other companies, the knowledge will keep growing. And of course, because we try to invest mainly in market failures where the VCs and corporate VCs will not invest in. This is just an example of how we invest our money in sector-wise. We can see that a lot of our involvement is actually in health tech and medicine because we identified it as kind of a market failure that companies and VCs invested in the very later stages of the development. So we put our finger on and invest more in the early stages of companies that dealing with health and medicine. So we invest actually in all sectors and in each step of the innovation from the very early stage of the tech transfer up to large companies that are operating here in Israel. So we can see that this is the three principles that the IIA is working by. First of all, we're neutral. We don't prefer one sector to the other. We give conditional loans. And we don't take equity. We take royalties if the investments that we put in the project actually generates revenue. And we give matching. We never give 100% of the R&D expenses. We are giving up to 50% of the R&D expenses. And of course, if the project fails, they don't need to give us back the money. It's a full grant. And I think the basis of what we are operating by is we don't try to lead the market. We try to enable the market to continue to do what they know to do best. About the number of 2019, we had approximately $500 million US as a budget. We invested in approximately more than 1,000 companies and gave money for more than 1,600 projects. Company can apply for more than one project. So about the international collaboration, we have more than 70 R&D agreements around the globe. We can offer this tool for the Israeli companies. We can in the emerging markets we help with product adaptation. With selected entities and of course multinational, we can offer doing pilots, beta site, test beds. Also, we can do a classical R&D cooperation. We have an R&D agreement with Japan. And we assist with the foundation. We have 5 foundations around the globe. 2 of them, actually 3 of them are in the Asia region. We have one with Korea, Singapore, and India. So what is the R&D cooperation? We have a bilateral collaboration with 70 countries, as I mentioned. The basic is that both companies that want to operate together goes to the agency, the funding agency. In our case, it's Israel Innovation Authority. In a Japan case, it's NEDO, that's sitting under METI. The companies apply together. There is a call for proposal. It's a time frame for companies to apply. It goes in parallel. Each company is evaluated by their own side. Afterwards, each side decided to fund the project, and we are in the end sitting together and decide if this project will be funded or not. We are actually having now an open call with NEDO under the Eureka platform. The closing day is the 10th of September 2020, and the results will be around the end of December, the beginning of January next week. So if there is companies that are looking for collaboration or scouting, of course, we can assist with NEDO to find relevant partners here in Israel or the Israeli companies in Japan with the assistance, of course, of the embassy. And we can help funding up to 50% of the R&D expenses of this joint project. So if you're interested, please contact us. And you're more than welcome to follow us for any more updates. We have an international newsletter that we release every quarter for what's going on in Israel and what are the opportunities for international collaboration and for foreign companies. Thank you very much for listening. If you have more questions, please feel free to contact me. And of course, if you have interest in the NEDO program, please feel free to contact NEDO. Thank you very much.
皆さんありがとうございました。それでは次に、Gav-Yam ネゲブハイテクパーク CEO ロイ・ズベフネル様より、国際的なハイテクエコシステムの構築方法についてお話がございます。ロイさん、よろしくお願いします。ロイさん、the floor is yours.
May I begin?
Yes.
All right. So thank you, everybody for joining us, and thank you for inviting us to present what we are doing here in Israel in a city called Beersheba. My name is Roy Zwebner, and I'm the CEO of the Gav-Yam Negev High-Tech Park we are developing in the recent years in Beersheba, together with the government and the university. And I want to take you through what we are doing here, because talking about technology and talking about what Israel is doing, we are building a landing pad for companies from all over the world to come and interact with the Israeli innovation ecosystem. And in the last couple of years, we were able to attract several companies to set up new R&D centers in our park in Beersheba. Let me just share my screen. All right. Can anyone just tell me that you can see the presentation?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So first of all, I would like to thank Mizuho and the Israeli Innovation Authority, and of course the embassy in Japan. Thank you for hosting the event and for hosting us and giving us the opportunity to present what we are doing. So basically, I would talk about the physical aspect of the ecosystem and how to connect all the different players or anchors into a sustainable ecosystem, technology ecosystem. Right. So I watched Elaz's presentation, and she talked about the different parts of the Israeli ecosystem. I think what we're doing in Beersheba is a very good example of how to connect the different sectors in order to combine one big success. So the city of Beersheba, until a couple of years ago, was not really connected to the Israeli ecosystem. And basically, by developing the park in Beersheba, we are now attracting the world-known industry in Israel into other parts of the country in order to establish new ecosystems. So if you can have a look, these are the main partners for the creation of this local ecosystem. I would begin with the Ben-Gurion University, which is one of the leading universities in Israel, located in Beersheba, with more than 20,000 students. So the university, together with the city of Beersheba, are the main founders of this ecosystem, new ecosystem in Beersheba. Both the university and the municipality, the local government, are founders and stakeholders in this project. Together with Gav-Yam, Gav-Yam is a local high-tech park developer in Israel. We have more than 19 high-tech parks throughout the country, some of the largest high-tech parks in Israel, and this is our newest project. And what is most unique, I think, about this one is that we are doing it in partnership with both the university and the local government. And this is quite a unique model, because I'm going to talk about the visitors that we are hosting on an annual basis from Japan. And what I know, that in Japan, the connection between the academy and the industry and local entrepreneurs is usually is not what we are used to here in Israel. I think one of the reasons is that Israel is quite a small country, and everybody knows everybody here, or at least you know someone who knows someone. And this brings to a very good connectivity between the different sectors and enables us to create structures and models that you would not usually see in other locations around the world. And I think this is one of our main strengths here in Israel from the technology point of view. So together with the three founders of the project, the government of Israel is also very big supportive of this project, creating jobs in a location, high-tech jobs in a location that was not rich with this kind of talent until a couple of years ago. Actually, we had the honor to host the CEO of the Israeli Innovation Authority yesterday for a visit with his team to the park, so that was very nice. We have KUD International, so KUD stands for Kajima Urban Development. Kajima, you might know some of you from Japan, quite a big company in Japan, also one of the founders and partners in this project. KUD is a US-based subsidiary of Kajima Japan. And last but not least is the global tech industry that identified the opportunity in setting up new R&D centers here in this location and basically connecting to the huge talent pool within the university. So basically here you can see how we take all the different sectors, connect them to work together, and we want to find what brings everybody together. So finding the right talent for the high-tech companies, creating new opportunities for the university and the graduates of the university, creating new jobs in a local area from the government point of view, and creating a real estate project from the entrepreneurship point of view. And once we connect all the dots where everybody wins throughout this circle, this is how we are able to grow this local ecosystem in Beersheba. So, you know, it's all about technology and it's all about people. So the Ben-Gurion University is one of the main reasons we chose to set up this park, specifically where we do it in Beersheba. And you can here have a look on some of the centers of research, centers of excellence within the Ben-Gurion University, and you can see that some of them relate to what Ella talked about with the growth of different companies in different fields. The university has more than 60 centers of excellence, and since the university is located very near, I'm going to show it in a few slides, very near to the park, so there is very good connectivity between the research within the university and the research and development of the technology companies and the industry. And this is one of the main strengths, I think, in Israel in overall, and specifically in what we're doing with this new ecosystem in Beersheba. So you can have a look. Computer science is very strong within the university. Of course, cybersecurity is very strong. Communication, robotics, connected vehicles, e-health, and other research fields. So like I said, it's all about the people. And the Ben-Gurion University for many years was considered a very good university, but it was located a little bit far away from the center of Israel, where most of the industry is located in. And this is the reason why not many of the companies would come to Beersheba until we opened the park. Since we opened the park about 7 years ago, we already have more than 70 high-tech companies and R&D centers located in the park, from startup companies all the way to incubators, growth companies, and of course, multinational companies operating in the park. You can see here, these are some of the 20,000 students studying in the university in the specific fields we identified relevant for the high-tech sector. So this is first degree, in orange second degree, and in green third degree. And this is all a very meaningful talent pool for the high-tech companies coming into Israel, basically to find the right talent for them. So this is for students. We have 6,400 students annually in the university. And as for graduates, almost 1,500 graduates every year that come out of the university and start working for the companies looking for talent. Here you can see the venue of the ecosystem. So if you'll have a look, you can see in orange, the Ben-Gurion University campus, which is now doubling itself on the right side. I'm not sure if you can see it, but now the university is doubling the size of the university. So from 20,000 students, it's expected to grow to at least 30,000, if not 40,000 in the coming decade. On the other side of the university, you can see the Soroka Medical Center, which is the second largest hospital in Israel. The health faculty of the university is located within the Soroka Medical Center. And on the other side of the university, we are now developing the high-tech park, the Gav-Yam Negev High-Tech Park, also known as the Cyber Park. I'm going to talk about that part in a few slides. We're going to have more than 10,000 employees located within the park, more than 15 buildings that we're going to develop here. Today, we already have 4 buildings completed, and hopefully we will break ground for the 5th building soon. You can see the train station in the middle of this entire campus. And on the other side of the high-tech park, the Israeli government, the Ministry of Defense, is now building the new technology campus for the IDF technology units. So I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the Israeli ecosystem, and Ella mentioned that, but one of the main strengths of the Israeli ecosystem is the technology units of the IDF. So in Israel, it's mandatory service to go and serve in the army once you reach the age of 18. The smartest boys and girls, not myself included, but the smartest boys and girls go and serve for the technology units. And once they complete their service, the national service, and they go out to their civilian life, so many of the IT companies are looking to get in touch with this unique talent pool and hopefully engage them and employ them for their R&D centers. So basically, the industry located within our park can benefit from the connection both to the talent pool within the university and on the other side, the talent pool of the IDF technology campus. So this is all in development. In a couple of years, we're going to have 6,000 technology experts of the IDF technology units located nearby, more than 20,000 students studying within the university, few thousand researchers and professors in the medical center, and more than 10,000 employees within the park. A couple of years ago, we almost had nothing here in regards of industry, and with the creation of the park from the physical aspect, it enabled high-tech companies to locate it in this unique tech ecosystem. So if we take the Israeli ecosystem, the larger Israeli ecosystem, which Ella mentioned, so you can see all the legs of the ecosystem located here, both from the academy point of view, the industry, and the technology units of the IDF. So once this is all completed, we're going to have more than 40,000 people dealing with advanced R&D here in this location, 5 minutes walk from each other. In the center of all this, we have the train station already working, connecting directly to central Israel. Just to give you some understanding, so this entire area is located about 1.5 hours from central Israel, which in Israeli standards is considered quite far. In other countries, it would be considered closer, but in Israel, it's considered quite far. And basically what we are doing with the creation of this ecosystem is convincing Israelis that the potential for R&D, high-level R&D, is also available in other areas of the country other than central Israel or other areas that were already developed. So this is the ecosystem in general. All right, and I'm just running very quickly on a few other slides because I see I'm out of time. So this is the national cyber arena that the Israeli government have announced. This is a part of the Israeli government declaration to create the cyber city in Beersheba. The national CERT is located here. We are signing all kinds of agreements with international organizations, including Mizuho and KRP, recent agreement we have signed with them. Hosting more than 3,000 visitors a year. This is, of course, pre-COVID-19, but hopefully we're now doing it on Zoom and quickly we'll be back to hosting visits. Hosting all kinds of events. I'm running because I see I'm out of time. And we're going to get to more than 10,000 employees in a short time. You can see here a list of some of the companies operating in the park. 2,500 engineers already employed in the park as of date. So this is it for us, and thank you everybody for listening and for hosting us. And I'm sorry, I'm just now saying that I'm a bit delayed, so this is it for me.
ロイさん、ありがとうございました。それでは、イスラエル企業のピッチに移りたいと思います。まず最初に10分間のピッチがございます。その後に2分間の質疑応答がございます。それでは、スターナム社の ビジネスディベロップメント、ジョシュ・ハイームさん、よろしくお願いします。ジョシュさん、the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. First, I'd just like to thank everybody for having me. Excuse me, Mizuho Bank, the Israeli Embassy, and of course, the Israeli Innovation Authority, and all of the people who decided to take some other afternoon to learn about Sternum. As we all know, we're seeing more and more connected devices into high impact markets across medical devices, industrial IoT, and as a result, we're creating more and more risk in these markets. These become the low-hanging fruit for attackers to be able to take down important systems, including energy and infrastructure, factories, and of course, we want to protect people from that and from the cost associated. Just last month, there was an announcement called Ripple 20, which was the findings that a very commonly used encryption library, as you can see, the companies that were using it at the time, were found to have 19 zero-day vulnerabilities within this library, which is of course a very high risk. This impacted over 100 million different devices. These are the industries that were impacted by it across medical, networking devices, transportation, industrial, oil and gas, and even aviation. What's interesting about these vulnerabilities and Sternum's approach is that any device that already had Sternum's protection embedded into it would have been protected and wouldn't have been able to be attacked through these vulnerability sets. That's the power of Sternum. What we do is twofold. The first thing is that we embed our protection into the device itself. That means that we work with the device manufacturers, with OEMs, to embed at the binary level very deep into the device to make sure that the protection is both the highest quality and also with the lowest overhead, so it doesn't impact the performance of the device itself. We work with companies including Medtronic on protecting medical devices. We're working on new pilots in transportation, in valves, in energy and infrastructure and power plants as well. In fact, earlier this year, we were given an award for the next generation IoT cybersecurity at RSA in San Francisco. Our team is made up of, as Roy just mentioned, the elite units of intelligence and technology within the Israeli military. Our CEO is Natalie Chuva. She's 28 years old, comes from one of those units, as does Lian and Alik. Our team, except for myself and Boaz, are all from those high-level technology units of the Army. They've done this professionally for their entire careers and have switched over to the private sector to make sure that we can protect connected devices as they become more and more prevalent in the market. The reason why it's so hard to protect these devices is many things. So a lot of the devices are simple, small units. There's many different restraints, including computing power, including bandwidth, including the fact that the operating systems are quite basic. If it's a different real-time operating system or a low-level Linux platform, the importance of being, you can't just add an antivirus in a traditional sense because it's too heavy. It's an agent that sits on top. The code is being generated by different teams and there's less standardization. And another big risk is the third-party libraries that are being embedded into it. In fact, most of the code in these devices are from the third-party libraries, and it also happens to be where attackers are most interested in going because once they find a vulnerability within a third-party library, then they're able to, in fact, find attack vectors across many devices in many different sectors. What we do, in fact, is protect the third-party libraries just as we protect the source code of the device itself. So the first component of our solution is the software-only agentless approach. What we do is we instrument the binary of the code and we treat, again, source code and third-party code in the same way. We don't worry as much about patching vulnerabilities. We see this as a cat and mouse game where There will always be inherent flaws in the code. Every time it's updated, every time it's changed, it creates a new potential vector. So what we do is we understand from where a vulnerability is and then where an attacker is going to go in order to take control of the device. We protect those points and we're able to stop any attack based on that. This is true for, again, third-party code or source code across any real-time operating system or Linux. The second half of our product is about monitoring, asset management, and device analytics. So the first component of that, of course, is the cybersecurity component. If there's an attack attempt, if there's an attack prevented, all of this data can be shown in a timeline so that the people responsible can go back and say, oh, this is how the attacker came to this point, it was stopped, we understand, and then the policies of the company can be enacted based on how to solve that. What's also interesting about this platform is that we're able to provide a lot more deep data insight into the device performance, asset management, and also in understanding what the updates are that are required for those third-party libraries as they come available in the market. We focus on what we call high impact sectors. That includes medical, industrial IoT, utilities, smart sensors, buildings, smart cities, as we see that these are the vectors that can cause the most physical and financial damage to us as people in the market. We have quite creative business models. Our main audience is for the device manufacturer, where we work directly with them to embed our solutions into their devices. We also can work with OEMs who supply different modules, cybersecurity partners, of course, even insurance companies. We have some clever models to work with them as well. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you taking the time. I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
ジョシさん、ありがとうございました。それでは質疑応答の時間に移りたいと思います。質問のある方は、Q&A のウィンドウの方にタイプの方をお願いします。Okay, I think no questions. Thank you so much, Josh-san.
Thank you very much.
それでは次に、インビジョン社の CEO、コファウンダー、シャロン・マンティンさん、よろしくお願いします。シャロンさん、the stage, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for inviting IMVision to present today. My name is Sharon Mantin. I'm one of the founders and the CEO of IMVision. And personally, I've spent 15 years in my career working in Japan market. So it's really an honor to be here today. I'm here to speak on behalf of IMVision. IMVision is an API security company. And our main goal is to protect digital transformation, both on the way that organizations are interacting with their end customers, interacting with their suppliers, interacting with their business partners as part of the day-to-day business. It all relates on APIs, and the ability to automate processes, to automate interaction is driven by API. IMVision has been around for the past 4 years, working in on this sector. As of today, our platform analyzes over 10 billion of API calls every month, and being used by highly reputable customers, including, for example, NTT Docomo. The approach of our solution is to provide a holistic solution for API security, everything from development through staging to production, to provide our partners, our customers, with a one-stop shop for everything they need in order to secure their APIs. Once Gartner started covering API security as a market, they have recommended Amvision as an API security specialist vendor. We are headquartered here in Tel Aviv, where I'm based, and we have offices in APAC, in Hong Kong, and in the US in Dallas, Texas. According to Gartner, within 2 years from now, API abuse or API attacks will become the most frequent attack vector. And that's in a very interesting projection because when we look at on one hand, the fast growth of API and the number of use cases and usages for APIs, it's clear that it becomes the new networking layer at the application level. On the other end, it's also important to understand that API provide a direct access to the most valuable assets of the organization, whether it is the data or the functionality that the organization exposes. And that's what makes it very valuable for the business, but at the same time, it makes it very valuable for the attackers. We no longer need to penetrate networks, to sneaks into infrastructure just to get to the data or to the application. We can just go direct if we manage to find vulnerability on APIs. It's also important to understand that API attacks derived from software or design bugs or failures, which makes it an infinite attack surface because we continuously change our applications, and as a result of that, their APIs, and every change has a potential bug, which could become the next potential vulnerability. And that's what makes the challenge of securing the API such of a big challenge. If we look what happened in the industry in the last 18 months, you will see a long list of highly reputable organizations, the organization that has the budgets and the knowledge and the tools and the teams in order to protect their assets. They have been breached again and again through their APIs. Some of the organizations have been breached multiple times. In some of the cases, it's result with a significant reputation damage. For other cases, it also led to regulation violation, and as a result of that, were very significant fines. So API attacks is a real problem today in the industry. It's something that once OWASP start covering that and publish the API, the top 10 for API security, it also put that on the top of most of the CISOs, definitely the one coming from a digital organizations on top of the list as a problem to solve. Now, when we look on how come all of those problems, all of those organizations which has the tools in place, they have the API gateways, they have the web application firewalls, they have the security application testing, how come they're all being breached through their APIs? There is one conclusion coming out from Gartner that summarizes it very accurately. Everything that we have today in the market is a general purpose application security tools. And that is inefficient for API attacks because the API attacks, as I mentioned before, are the bugs either in the design or the development that happens at the business logic layer. And that is a complete different level compared to where those tools are actually protecting. And that's the gap that we in Amvision have identified a few years back. And what we have developed is the API Anomaly Management Platform. The API Anomaly Management Platform is or leverage machine learning in order to learn the specific behavior of the API of your organizations. It's not a general purpose. It's not based on known CVEs. It actually learns the behavior of your APIs over time, build thousands and in some cases tens of thousands of rules that have been automatically generated in order to characterize the normal business logic usage of your APIs and validate that. The platform that we provide is integrated into the full life cycle of the API, everything from the initial stage of the development through the testing of the API all the way to production. And in different stages, we provide different type of values for the development team and for the security team in order to improve the quality of your APIs from the get-go. As you can see here, in the development phase, we actually analyze your swappers, or that's actually refers to the way APIs have been documented, and analyze them compared to market benchmarks, such as Open API specification or Phoebe, and gives recommendations where the API has not been written properly. We compare that with your data and validate that the Swagger and the data are aligned and there are room for enrichments and improvements. When we got to the staging environment where you already have an API that are being tested, what we are doing here is an automated testing capabilities in which it learns the normal behavior of your API and automatically generates manipulated API calls that violates the rules that we have learned and see how your service reacts to that. The goal here is to identify API vulnerabilities before it gets to production. But obviously, not everything can be verified before. And for that reason, we also provide a production solution as part of the anomaly management platform that gives you a full visibility into your API in production, which is a data-driven. It gives you the ability to see what happened in reality. It gives you a risk scoring for each and every API endpoint that you use. It gives a detection and prevention capabilities. And most importantly, it provides you with an attack analytics that actually explain what the API attacks that we have identified. So it's not only that we blocked it, but we also give you additional information so you can learn from and improve in the next release. So with that, I would like to thank you again very much for giving me the opportunity to present today. And if you have any questions, please.
シャロンさん、ありがとうございました。それでは質疑応答の時間に移りたいと思います。質問のある方は、テキストにて Q&A のコーナーにお書きください。Okay, I think no questions. Sharon-san, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. それでは次に、アウリーのビジネスディベロップメント、アミール・バハルールさん、よろしくお願いします。アミールさん、the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for spending the time and listening to me. Again, my name is Amir. Let me know if you can see my screen. It should be available now. So I assume you can all see my screen. Augury is a word coming from Latin to English. It means a sign for the future. Augury's vision is a world where people can always rely on the machine that matters. As you probably already know, most of the global GDP relies on machines, and machine health became a human problem. Augury provides machine health as a service. We provide a full stack solution from sensors through connectivity, AI, and cloud-based systems through value and outcomes to the customer. Our diagnostics, the accuracy of our diagnostics is guaranteed by the global Germany-based insurance company, Munich Re. So this is how it works. Augury connects sensors to machines. The sensors are industry grade, wireless, independent, sending data to the cloud. In the cloud, we have an AI system that continuously monitors and diagnoses the machines and provides alerts whenever there is a problem with recommendations on how to solve it. All of that leads to full visibility of the machine's health across the critical production lines in the facility. This is how it looks. We deploy sensors on critical machines. Those sensors are wirelessly connected to wireless hubs that are located in the proximity of the machines. And those wireless hubs transmit the data to the cloud. This is an example of beverage industry production line that we monitor. We can diagnose all of the utility equipment like pumps, chillers, fans and blowers, and so on. Supply systems, filling systems, conveyors, packaging machines, washing machines, and so on. We work with many industries and support all types of critical rotating equipment. It can be chemicals, food and bev, pharma, automotive, and many others. A little bit about us. So today we're 110 people in Augury. Half of the company is in Israel. Our R&D is in Israel, and our headquarters and business development is in New York. The company was established in Israel 9 years ago, and we raised approximately $60 million to date. These are some of our customers. We work with Procter & Gamble, Colgate, SCP, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, Heineken, Frito-Lay, Shell, Israeli Chemicals, and many others. We also work with OEMs. You may already know Grundfos, the world's maybe largest pumps company. Grundfos sells 16 million pumps a year, and Augury became their digital machine health supplier. We white labeled our solution, and today our sensors and cloud services are being sold globally by Grundfos. And the next step, which is already signed and planned, is to embed Augury's technologies into the pumps that Grundfos sells. So that much like printers today that connect to Wi-Fi, so will OEM equipment do. We do the same with Carrier and Train with regards to chillers. By today, we monitor around 70,000 machines globally. Together with our partners and customers, we were able to save over $50 million in cost. That also includes avoiding 50,000 hours of downtime to our customers and saving the replacement of 7,000 machines. The ROI of using Augury is typically... I'm sorry, there's a noise on the line. Noah. is typically 5 times, and the payback of the cost of the service is usually within the first 3 months of the service. So these are the 3 problems that that are blocking companies from reaching successful digital transformation. So many of the digital transformation initiatives focus on the technology and not on the business impact. This is why Augury's solution provides value from day one that our sensors are installed on the machine. Many solutions include the DIY part for the IoT and AI. Augury provides the full stack from the sensor through the AI algorithms, workflow, all the way to the value, to the outcome. And last is that we realized that digital transformation is not digital, it's about people. That's why Augury has a unique adoption engine to help the adoption of the technology to the factory, to the corporate. Sorry. I would like to give one example of a global rollout that we have with Colgate. You all know Colgate. So this is how it looks when our sensors are monitoring the extruders and mixers of Colgate's products. The saving or the impact of Colgate working with Augury is $15 million in savings in 3 years. And a lot of that is because using Augury's technology, Colgate was able to change their maintenance practices. So for example, instead of making periodic services for machines, they reduced the amount of planned maintenance. And just in this example, they saved almost $4 million in preventive maintenance costs. There's a lot more information here, and if anyone is interested, I'll be happy to tell more in one-on-one meetings. Again, the ROI is 5 times, and we would be happy to provide more information later. Thank you very much for listening to me. I'll give it back to you.
Amir-san, thank you so much. Okay, let's move to the Q&A section. You already have 2 questions here. Can you see it?
Can your company offer preventive maintenance before failure indicate like motor? Yeah, definitely. This is what we focus on. So Mikami-san, with regards to your question, yes, definitely we can do that. The second question is, what kind of signal do they take? So the sensors are taking 6 measurements. Each sensor pack is taking 6 measurements, including several types of vibration in several dimensions, as well as magnetic flux and temperature. The other question is, what is a benefit to the user? Uptime increase of save cost to and long lifetime. So the value is made of 3 main methods. We reduce downtime in 50 to 90%, depends on the industry. So unexpected downtime is one value. As I showed in the example with Colgate, we are able to reduce the amount of maintenance needed. So that's the second pillar of the savings. And the third one is that the repair cost is also reduced. So the maintenance cost is also reduced because we are able to give extremely early alert of any malfunction in the machine and repairing the machine at that stage is 20 to 200 times cheaper than repairing it when it has a failure. So Taki-san, I hope it answers your questions. If there are any more questions, I'm happy to take it on the one-on-one session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amir-san. それでは最後に 3D シグナル社の VP ビジネスディベロップメントガリア・カドミー・フラグマンさん、よろしくお願いします。ガリアさん、the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here today. Thank you for all of the organizers for setting it up, and thank you for all of the participants for the time spent with us today. If there are any Mizuho friends on the line, it's great to reconnect again. So today I'm going to share with you 3D signals and how we support manufacturers with their digital transformation process to the Industry 4.0 era. So we all know that the Industry 4.0 promise is how technology can make the next revolution in the industrial areas. And there is a big promise about that. The reality is that we know today that more than 90% of all machines globally are still disconnected. And there are good reasons for that. It's a complex job. We have a lot of different machine types, machine vendors, old machines at the age of tens of years, alongside with new machines that are called greenfield machines. There are different kinds of standards, controllers, and other methodologies on how to connect to the machines. And that creates a situation where the average OEE, and OEE is a measurement of overall equipment effectiveness, meaning that how effective the production line and the production floor is. And the average is somewhere between 40 to 60%. That figure also includes highly monitored industries like the semiconductor industry, like chemicals, that they are in the very high percentages of 90 and something % of effectivity. We see that our customers are many times below the 40% effectiveness. We also know today with the coronavirus that we see a global trend. And if until today, our target customers and manufacturers were living in an environment that has no digital connection to their production sites and to their machines, and they lived well with that. They lived on a decent margin, they were profitable. But today the situation is different. We know that many of them are in survival mode for the COVID pandemic crisis, and trying to understand what should be their health plan. And there are three important factors for that. The first one is to be able to make decisions based on data. So if until today it was based on gut feelings or manual inputs, today data-driven decision-making is even more important. And I can give you an example. One of our customers around mid-April timeframe contacted us and consulted with our customer success team on acquiring a new machine. A new machine that its cost is roughly around $500,000. And we looked on the figures with them and we realized that this machine is not efficient enough. And instead of acquiring a new machine, we improved the productivity of the machine. We improved its efficiency. And we saved the customers alongside with his excellence team, $500,000. This also connects to the second point of efficiency. And the two of them together is connected to a new term that's called remote autonomy. Nowadays, where we have quarantined and isolated environments, we need to be able to have transparency to production sites globally. And being able to monitor and control your production sites globally from your home office or from your headquarters is something that is essential. Our solution today, our solution at 3D Signals provide a simple plug and play to production sites and manufacturers to go through the digital transformation journey and to bring results. And we know today that the industry is tired from pilots that they are not sure when they are going to end and what is the value that they are going to perceive from that. So the solution is based on a simple, quick installation to bring fast ROI. So on the left-hand side, you can see the first portion of the solution. This is the connectivity piece of the software, where we install sensors on each machine, up to 8 sensors, but mainly around 2 to 3 sensors. They are off-the-shelf sensors. They are not proprietary sensors because we support all types of machines from all vendors, from all ages. Meaning that even if we ran into machines that do not even have a controller, we can connect them in 45 minutes. And this is one of the reasons why we use off-the-shelf sensors. So we can use whatever sensor that the machine requires. We also install on each machine an edge compute unit that collects all of the signals and transfer them to the cloud. Installation takes roughly around 45 minutes, meaning that we can provide for an average factory full coverage to all of the machines, brownfield and greenfield, in a matter of a few days. And some of our customers were disconnected for almost 100 years, and we take them from 0 to 1 in a few days. So from day one, they can already have full visibility to the shop floor in real time. And to start monitor their machines, we are focusing on productivity, not on predictive maintenance and other aspects of AI solutions. We are focusing on productivity, on OEE increase. And within 2 to 3 months, we see that our customers are increasing their productivity in tens of percentages. And within a year, it's growing. So all in all, the solution includes 3 parts: the connectivity layer, the real-time visualization, and the BI reports. The key advantages of the solution, it's a hassle-free solution. We bring the entire solution end-to-end. We do not need to have any hardware components or engineering services or system integrators, or to use any of the IT experts of the production site. Very fast insights within days to have full transparency to real-time data, and within 2 to 3 months to BI reporting tools. It's a non-invasive solution, meaning that we do not connect to the PLC. We do not interfere with the warranty of the machines. We cannot provide any cybersecurity threats to the machine. It's read-only. And it's a growing value solution, meaning that it's a cloud-based solution. And every second week, our R&D team releasing new features and new updates. We have a few more minutes, so I'll briefly go over with you about one of the success stories with Samsung AG. Samsung AG is a German-based production site, manufacturer, with revenue of $600 million on an annual basis, 4,000 employees, and 18 sites. We are today installed on 5 sites, 3 in Germany, 1 in Turkey, and 1 in the US, on over 100 machines. What you can see here on the left-hand side, you can see production floor 22. And the manager of the production floor is a very innovative person. When he adapted the system very quickly, and we saw that within 4 months of operations, he was able to increase his productivity and effectiveness with 36%, and within a year, 60% of improvement. The entire factory got to an improvement of almost 50% within a year, and they are continuing improving. In terms of cost reduction, only from floor 22, they managed to understand that the night shift, which is an expensive shift because it's based on temporary workers, they realized that this shift is not necessary. And they saved costs of 700,000 euros on an annual basis. Another measurement that is crucial in Germany is energy saving. Each production site has audit on an annual basis, and they manage to save energy in the figure of 14%. That translated into 60,000 euros. And there is a very simple explanation for that. Because we provide information about on, off, and idle, they realize that they are leaving the machines open on weekends, on nights, on holidays and vacations, and there is no need for that. So they started shutting down the machines, and this is a cost saving for the energy. About the company we founded 5 years ago, we raised up to date $27 million. 21 of them were on round A about a year ago. We have 3 approved and pending patents, mainly on the insights on the cloud, on how to translate signals into insights. Recently, we won the Red 100 top winners, and the World Economic Forum, a tech pioneer for 2020. We are also part of the Open Industry Alliance, and we're now working on a showcase that will be available in September timeframe with companies like SAP, KUKA, Fujitsu, and others. And our investors, the main investors, is 2 venture capitals in Israel, one from a very famous person in the intelligence arena, and the other one, Grow Ventures, which is the inventor, the USB memory stick inventor, venture capital, and 2 venture capitals from Germany. Okay, that was dramatic. Thank you for your time. I'll be happy to take any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much, Galia さん。それでは質疑応答に移りたいと思います。質問のある方はテクストにて Q&A の方にお書きください。Okay, I think no question. Okay, thank you so much, Galia さん。これでイスラエル企業のプレゼンテーションを終了させていただきます。この度はサイバー&フィジカルシステム AI ウェビナーにご参加いただきまして誠にありがとうございました。質疑応答では多くのご質問をいただきましたが、今回登壇した企業にさらに質問やご興味のある方は、弊部のアドレスにご連絡ください。本日登壇した企業との個別面談をご希望の方は、こちらの電話番号の方にご連絡いただければ、この後5時間がご用意できるかと思います。また、後日設定希望の方は、大使館のメールアドレスの方にご連絡ください。近日中に本ウェビナーについてのアンケートをお送りいたしますので、そちらの方にもご協力ください。今後も様々なテーマにてウェビナーイベントを企画しておりますので、弊部ウェブサイトの方もぜひご覧ください。これにて当ウェビナーを終了させていただきます。本日はご清聴いただき誠にありがとうございました。